Is it recording?
An error has occurred. Wait a moment and try again. I think we are actually live now, so apologies to anyone who
We're
might be
here,
confused by
John.
the beginning. Right, we are here. Larry having fun with framing the picture as he tends to do. You should see some of the ads. He's got that a lot. Anyway, Larry Mastropieri, real estate broker and owner of the Mastropieri Group, alongside myself, John Laws, representing Discover South Florida. And once again, we are talking about all things South Florida. Uh, Tonight's episode, we are going to go a little bit in depth with Lake Worth Beach. Before we get started with that, though, I know Larry's been dying to talk about this. Some historic events happening in West Palm Beach. The magic of modern science has brought about the first outdoor ice rink in South Florida, and it will be in West Palm Beach. Larry, are you going to drag Dana ice skating this weekend? Because it's going to be running from November till March, so it's not like you have a lot of time to do it, but it's here now and available.
I grew up ice skating, and I hadn't ice skated in like 20 years, and I thought it was going to be easy. And I jumped back on the skates, and I'm like, oh my god, this is painful.
Yeah.
So it sounds like fun. I'll leave it to the little kids.
For anyone who's interested, ticket prices for adults are $20. Children ages 4 to 11 is 10, and children 3 and under are free. Which I'm going to be honest, a 3-year-old ice skating that'd be impressive.
I'm with you.
Little kid. I mean, you like barely walk, but ice skating that would be something else. I guess that's why it's free.
This is interesting. It's actual real ice, right?
Oh yeah,
real ice.
Yeah. It's crazy. Look how far we've come. We are in South Florida. What is global warming? I don't buy it. Yeah, I mean, but ever since I think about like with the NHL, they do those stadium series where they'll play at big outdoor venues across the country. I'm originally from St. Louis, and the thing about the climate, particularly in that part of the Midwest, is it's still very volatile. It goes up and down, so it doesn't oftentimes stay cold enough long enough to really have ponds where you can just safely go ice skating. But then they'll put it at Busch Stadium, which is where the St. Louis Cardinals play. And there's no problem with it. So it seems like now more than ever, outdoor venue ice skating is available to everyone. And that's something special.
Yeah, let me share the location and show everybody where this is going to be. So this is the location. Pretty neat. It's going to be right in downtown West Palm, right by the Ben Autograph Collection Hotel. They're calling it the Winter Wonderland. And they've been planning this for months, right?
Yes.
With city approval in July, and construction started in mid-October. The rink features raised platform with food and beverages nearby, providing family-friendly winter experience typically not found here typically found up north, as I'm trying to say.
and what's interesting too is how you point that out. It is right next to the Intracoastal. It is next to the water.
I initially envisioned them building something more complicated when they were saying this, but this is pretty
simple.
Right?
You look, that's where it is. It's that small green area and the trees right next to it. This was video from last summer. But yeah, and they turned it into an ice rink. And as long as it doesn't go over 90 degrees, from my understanding, they will keep it open. So run from November until March. I don't know how many times it's going to hit 90 degrees in that time frame, but certainly going to happen.
It's going to happen.
All right. I'm not going to tempt fate here. I mean, it's like, come on. But yeah, it's really cool that they have the opportunity to do that. Hours are Monday through Thursday from 2:30 to 10 p.m. and weekends and school holidays. We'll open as early as 9:30 and it'll run till 10 p.m. So that's nice. I guess they must have a Zamboni there too, because it also says the rink will undergo ice resurfacing every 90 minutes. So, it doesn't turn into slush on you.
And Ice America is well known for building out these types of systems throughout the country, right? They build them in California, et cetera.
Yes.
Yep.
But at least in California, particularly, it farther north, it gets seasonably much cooler there. To be able to pull it off in South Florida I'll give them credit. That's impressive.
Agreed.
So, all right, that's one more thing we'll have going on for us this fall and winter is ice skating in South Florida. So that's
let's get into the next one that I'm
yes,
excited
we have
about.
Boynton Beach. We have the mall, which I know has not been a popular place in Boynton Beach for some time, but that's going to change because now there is a 92.3 acre once in a lifetime development opportunity in the heart of Palm Beach County, which when I saw that headline, I was kind of thinking, it's like, well, yeah, Boynton Beach is right there, technically in the center of Palm Beach County. And they're going to build a new mall, a zoned suburban mixed use, which of course allows for residential, office, retail, and other recreational uses. Larry, you got your mall back. You got to be happy about it.
This has been discussed for a while. So while this is just recently offered, as I flipped it to you as soon as I saw the offering memorandum come through, we'll see what happens here. But the current owners tout that they've done some things to make this development ready, which is exciting. So there's a good chance that they can sell this to the right person who's actually going to execute on the project, or the right private equity firm that's going to execute on this project. This is a big project if they pull this off, right?
Right. 92.3 acres. So looking at the diagram, I was under the impression they're going to build it over the previous mall. I mean, I guess they're keeping some of the shops open, but
I think so. I think if they go for this, they're gonna remove it all. So with the exception of right now, they're not offering the what is it, the Cinemark, the movie theater, and the church is not offered, but they have negotiated with the church to be amenable to development projects. So you can see how they're blocked out there. So it's not a perfect development spot, but it's pretty good.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, there's always limitations in regards to the real estate in this area. So I could understand building on top of what they've already had there. But correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, most of the mall, it's not open anymore, is it?
So I've been in there. We own property around the area, and as I mentioned, we've been excited to talk about, one day this is going to get developed, right? And that'll be great for the area and great for other projects we've invested in. And long story short, it just hasn't happened. So, but there has been a lot of development around that area. So I would say this is going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how long it takes. So that's exciting. They say site zoning allows for a maximum density of 20 units per acre with a total maximum unit count of 1,700 units. So there's a lot of units that could be built there, and they may increase that zoning. They'll also likely do a mixed use project alongside this, right? So they'll have some retail, or probably substantial retail in the area like they've done at other projects, just east of there across the street.
So I guess my question is, in situations like this, like you said, you own some residential properties around there. As someone who is a landowner in that area, so to speak, do you have any kind of influence when there's talks about things like this, to try to get things moving in one way or the other? Because of course, something like this would absolutely help the value of the real estate.
When they propose development projects, they have to send out letters and notify surrounding neighbors, basically. And there's votes on if the neighbors want to approve specific things, especially if there's zoning changes or upzoning to allow more units, more traffic, more density. But other than that, I'd say the neighbors don't have too much influence. These are like serious, huge projects that require real developers. The city has expressed interest in getting this done too. I mean, this is a huge advantage if the city and a developer can agree on a specific type of development they want to put in place here, which I'm assuming is many multifamily units or condos, most likely multifamily rentals like they've done across the street, and mixed use. So yeah, totally. This is interesting. And here's the commentary I was looking for. So, the owner suggests they've de-risked the deal by doing a number of things, right? They've purchased. Where is it at? Here we go. They've purchased some of the existing parcels here, right? They've acquired the Macy's parcel. They've entered into an agreement with Christ Fellowship Church for redevelopment cooperation, ensuring no other parties have control rights over the property. So there's a few things going on there that they've done to work on that. And as we mentioned earlier, they've also kind of reduced the amount of leases that they're currently holding. Most of these tenants are on shorter term leases to allow for flexibility around development. So
realistically, let's say this all goes through. When would you expect them to get started on this or be anywhere close to having it ready to go? Because it seems like so often with these projects, yes, it looks great. We're finally getting it put into motion, and then you forget about it by the time you actually have an opportunity, to see it for yourself.
This example is like the downtown Boynton Beach area. There's so many projects available to be done by big developers and big landowners own stuff, and they just haven't really done anything there. Right. This is perfect. This is a perfect example of that. And another example of that is the Boca Raton Sears in the mall. Right. There's been dispute over that for however long, and there's nothing really happening there. These projects are complicated. And so, yeah, I don't know. This likely gets done 5 years from now,
Yeah, it just progress. Yeah. It seems like it's always slow. You get excited about it that it's coming, and then you forget about it, and then it's like Christmas morning when it finally comes around. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. But
all right, let's make a bet right now. This project's going to get done in October of 2030.
I believe it. After last week, when we were talking about the Vanderbilt University grad school campus in West Palm Beach, initially when Daniel Diermeyer presented all the details on the proposition and whether or not it could go through, they were saying it could be up and running by 2026. Okay, fine. Palm Beach County passes all of it. Realistically, now they're talking about 2029. So it's always, again, we get ambitious. Our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, so to speak. And but hey, at least they're trying.
I agree. And the City of Boynton Beach Planning and Development Board and the City Commission have expressed immense just super interest in getting this redevelopment project off the ground. This is a kind of a thorn in their side, if you will, or just like an ugly spot on the map. This could be so much better than what it is. So, yeah.
Well, that's good, right?
Let's go.
Speaking of things that are getting better slowly but surely, Lake Worth Beach. Now, introducing Lake Worth Beach, it was up until 2018. It was always called Lake Worth. I'm not going to say it was necessarily an insecurity on the part of the city of Lake Worth, but they see everybody else. You got Lake Worth. North of that, you got West Palm Beach. South of that, you got Boynton Beach. South of that, it's Delray Beach. I guess they kind of felt left out. I mean, heck, even Riviera Beach, it's a beach. So Lake Worth has a citywide vote. They elect to change the name to more accurately reflect its location along the Atlantic Ocean. In your time since then, Larry, have you noticed a difference in Lake Worth Beach?
I think Lake Worth, just like everywhere else, is experiencing like growth and development and improvement. Is it tied to Lake Worth Beach or Lake Worth changing its name to Lake Worth Beach? I don't know. Right. And what's very interesting about this is the vote was so close, right?
Oh, it was. See, I didn't know what the actual vote was.
It was super tight. So the citizens voted, and it was a very polarizing experience for Lake Worth. It was almost 50-50. So,
oh, wow.
And it swung in the direction of change it to Lake Worth Beach. So they did. And part of the reason or the argument for changing it to Lake Worth Beach is to kind of distance themselves. So the city, they wanted to distance themselves from some of the crime stats that are relatively high in the unincorporated areas of Lake Worth, right? That's one of the arguments.
What, they're hoping the federal statistics will somehow forget that it's actually the same city if they change their name. It's like, oh, that was so Lake Worth. Let me tell you something. Lake Worth Beach is
very different.
It's much safer. much safer. Well, I was going to say, I wonder if Riviera Beach then will change its name to something else too. I mean, hey, why not? Oh man. Well, that's I guess
Speaking of development, though, like there's a lot going on in Lake Worth, right?
Well, and looking at this footage, you and I were in downtown Lake Worth. I believe this was last summer. There are a lot of things happening in Lake Worth Beach, and I feel like it gets overlooked sometimes. Lake Ave is kind of the main drag there. They have several bars and restaurants, and it's fun. Here's my question. Do you think the success and growth of, say, Delray Beach over the past 10, 15 years has kind of influenced some of these other neighboring communities to try to replicate what they've done?
Yes, I think Lake Worth is pushing in that direction. They're trying to improve, and there's differences in geography and demand from a development perspective in all these cities. And fortunately, Delray Beach just won right place, right time. Geography wise, very a little different. And what I mean by that is I always tell people this when they're talking about like, hey, what do you think about the development prospects of this city versus that city? Well, a few things. When it comes to development, usually a lot of development happens around the bridges that access the island, and the width of the intercoastal kind of dictates if the bridge is walkable or not, which then really connects certain areas on the mainland with the island, right? Mm-hmm. And so Delray Beach has a couple bridges, right? They have 3 bridges, and their intercoastal is much smaller than Lake Worth's, and so you can walk across the bridge pretty easily. Whereas Lake Worth, it's much
that's a long
bigger.
Bridge.
Yeah, it's less desirable to walk across Lake Worth Bridge to the beach. So by default, you have this gorgeous intercoastal that's huge. You have less connectability, if you will, from the mainland to the beach, and so less people are like walking across, and that creates a less walkable environment. Boca is relatively walkable in some areas, and they have multiple bridges. Delray has multiple bridges, relatively walkable. And then the next thing you can consider is just how big and vast Lake Worth is. Like the Ave there in Lake Worth. Mm-hmm. is much larger versus Delray's is kind of the way they've set it up. It's smaller. They took development pockets one at a time and knocked them out and made them like very awesome. Right. And so when you have smaller downtown, you can enact change much faster, especially if you aggregate or get a lot of the parcels and get some big developers in play. And so that's part of it. And Delray started to emerge very strongly right out of the recession, versus some of these other areas took a little longer, and they were more just segmented. Or so Lake Worth, I think, is always going to be hard to turn into a Delray. It's just is what it is. There's just too much stuff between 95 and the beach. It's just too big, too vast, and Delray is not. So.
Huh. That's interesting. No, I never really thought about that. That actually makes a lot of sense. Staying with Lake Worth Beach, we have the Prosperity Village Cottage Homes, which is a development of small cottages for homeless families that's set to open within the next month in Lake Worth. That's located at 4531 Clemens Street. Something that obviously is very helpful in trying to assist families that are going through some tough times. I've seen the project. It cost over $6 million, including 17 detached single family homes. It's nice seeing that. We talk all the time about, the the homeless population, but never actually offering real solutions. So at least the community's trying to do something about it. What do you think?
It's helpful. It's an attempt, but it's like a drop in the bucket probably for what
Yeah,
really
I mean,
needs
it's
to be
only
done.
17 single family homes. I mean, it's nice, but
Yeah, and for $6 million, right?
Yeah.
Is that was the
Yes, that was the
price?
number.
So hold on, let's do that math real quick.
Right. I mean, and we're talking about monthly rent technically ranging from 600 to 850. Obviously, it all depends too on government assistance and other factors.
So that's about $350-ish thousand a tiny home, which okay, that's not crazy. It's not crazy cheap, but it's not out of control expensive either, which is, for South Florida, 350 grand is not bad. This isn't like, and this doesn't make economic sense without incentives and without charity and just people knowing that this is something that's right to do, right? So this project is not something that a private developer or owner would want to replicate. So this is great that they're stepping in and helping out, and it's a good thing. It's just small. It's just small compared to what probably needs to be done here. So yeah, I would say this is great. I mean, they're moving people in November. Nice little project. I wanted to point out where it is. So this is what it looked like while they were building it. Pretty cool, right? So, yeah. Yeah. So
and doing research on this, one of the things that was interesting is, what is kind of influenced not just what we're seeing in Lake Worth Beach and helping the homeless population. Starting at October 1st, it was the new statute where it's now illegal in Florida to sleep on sidewalks, parks, beaches, and other public spaces, which, according to the Associated Press, is one of the strictest anti-homelessness measures in the country. So it's getting to the point where it's like, all right, what can we do to try to combat homelessness? Because if they don't, starting January 1st, residents, business owners, and the state can sue municipalities they don't think are doing enough. So, boy, that's going to be a mess. That will happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, 3 months. Like, what the heck are you going to do with, depending on what area you're in? I mean, that you can just get everyone off the street. It's just have fun with that.
So the question is, can you duplicate this model? It's kind of hard. I mean, the overview is they're cottages, 2 to 3 bedroom units. They're providing this transitional homeless housing for families and children. The project was about $6 million, 17 detached homes. That's about $350 a unit or a door, which is tough to make sense, especially at these rent numbers. The monthly rent ranges from $600 to $850. That is not a constructive rent for a real investor. So that's tough. Yeah.
And the thing is too, we're having a hard enough time trying to have workforce housing, let alone, families that are living homeless. There's so many problems with housing right now anyway. And now you're trying to enact this homelessness statute. That really could make things ugly starting in the beginning of 2025. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on with other things in Lake Worth Beach, we're going to talk about one of the most recent housing projects that's actually intended for urban dwellers seeking a vibrant lifestyle. This is the Bohemian, which is located, I believe, right along Lake Ave. So you're trying to get that main drag and increase the mixed use space there. If you wanted to point that out on the map, but from my understanding, it was like right off Lake Ave.
Yeah, this is an efficient location, right off Lake Ave, right by the train tracks. Not bad. This is a good project to build along the train tracks, in my opinion. It's really kind of improving that little area there that's historically been industrial, right? So you can see to the south of here is more industrial warehousing projects that have historically been here along the train tracks, and even even kind of in front of it. So this area is experiencing a bit of a transition, which is cool because of these big housing projects here, or these big condo apartment projects. You can see Matthews Brewing Company. There's some other cool projects or businesses in this area. That's a cool vibe. It's changing.
Again, when we were spending some time down there before, I mean, I tend to forget that there are a number of, trendy restaurants and things like that. Again, that's why I said making that comparison to Delray Beach, because I just feel like so many areas are trying to replicate what they've done. I mean, it's the same difference with Boynton and some of the things they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've done a good job. The developer here is affiliated development. So they've done a good job. Generally speaking, I've been in the Bohemian. I've been in the other project they have is the Mid, which is also worth very, very cool. Just overall, just cool projects, very well done. I think these guys are really good at executing and building stuff. So I would just say overall, I think they deliver a good project. And one of their specialties is developing and working with the city to add or provide some workforce housing in these projects. And they've got a lot going on here in South Florida. Here's a quick example. I'm going to steal this from you right now here. There you go. These are their featured communities. We mentioned the Mid, which is in Lake Worth. I think I have this on the map. The Mid is just a little bit north, up this way, right around here. And then they have Fort Lauderdale, another project in Fort Lauderdale. There's the Bohemian, the Grand, the Spruce is coming. So they're getting after it.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty good. This is an example of one of the projects that we've been hoping and waiting that would come in Boynton Beach. That's been just not happening. But it's going to come at some point, and that'll be exciting. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So changing gears to one of the other mixed use developments, and this one's actually under construction at the moment. We have the Deco Green. Now that one's located at 1715 North Dixie Highway, which I believe is still also right off the beaten path of Lake Ave and that downtown area.
It's right here. So it's a little bit north. So if you look at
oh wow, it's a little farther north. Yeah,
it's not really a walking distance type thing. And we own a number of projects here. I mean, it's really funny. We're just bidding on a project just west of this location. Mm-hmm. And the area, what's nice is this area over here has been transitioning just to the east of where they're building. So I would say anything they're building on Federal here is a good project to continue to improve the overall change or improvement of the area. It's just growing. It's cleaning up compared to what it used to be. So, yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, I mean, from the details on it, and they only broke ground on it. So I guess a couple years ago. So they've been working on it since late summer of 22, with completion anticipated in the first quarter of next year. Yeah, that will be interesting to see how all that comes together. One of the more interesting projects than I had seen when we were kind of looking through things and what's been happening in Lake Worth Beach is the Gulfstream Hotel. Now, it's right across the bridge from the other side. You think about that Lake Worth Casino complex and everything that's right down there. I guess in terms of early 20th century or earlier 20th century buildings, you have the Gulfstream Hotel, which had closed in 2005, almost 20 years later. Now they're trying to restore it and open it again as a hotel. Have you been by there at all? What have you seen from that?
There's the project's underway. It's been kind of closed off for a long time, right? Pretty cool. Like, as you mentioned, it was built in 1925. This is awesome. And then it was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1983. So this has been a historic spot for a long time. And as you mentioned, closed down in 2005. And then in May of 2024, Restoration St. Louis, led by Amy Gill, initiated basically a renovation project to restore it, which is pretty cool. it's taken some time to get to that point of where we are today, which is interesting. And the restoration project is, for 90 hotels or 90 hotels. The restoration project is for
90 hotel rooms, right?
We're going to, yeah. So 90 hotel rooms, ground floor restaurant and bar. Additionally, new mixed use building next door, which also has 50 hotel rooms, plus 83 apartments, a rooftop restaurant and bar, spa, ballroom, meeting room, gym, business center, and a club room. So this is a real project, and the location is pretty epic, as you just mentioned. I'll share my screen right now so you can see this. Let's see. So it's right next to Bryant Park, right off of.
Oh, it's a great spot.
Yeah. Walk across the bridge, bike across the bridge. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah.
Because I was always a big fan of that Lake Worth Municipality golf course, which is right there along the Intracoastal as well, just north of that location. But yeah, having the hotel there, having that nice little public golf course, aesthetically, it's a nice looking thing that I hope people in the community will appreciate, since they're going to all this trouble with it now. But it only broken ground in 2024. I just wonder, in terms of the structure itself, if they're going to have to do a lot of, trying to get the building up to code in light of all the new things regarding the condos and their structural integrity. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Any historic renovation project is expensive.
Yeah, well, right. It's like, gosh, are they gonna just tear out the entire inside and start from scratch, or just, again, I'm not totally familiar with that spot.
You have to have a specialty in this, and this is very technical. So because there's a lot of rules and requirements, and so they're going to do a great job, I'm sure. And they got the support of the city to make this happen. So this will be exciting when it's done. And it's just one more project knocked out on Lake Ave, right around Lucerne area. And it'll just continue to improve the area. So,
okay. So let's talk about some more residential dwellings. In this case, homes. One of the smaller ones that's popped up by Leonard Homes is the Heathwood Reserves neighborhood. I guess they built homes in that community a couple of years ago. They, still kind of a bit of a turnover there. This one caught your attention. Why was that?
It's in Lake Worth. And everywhere here in South Florida, there is very minimal space to build. And these guys are getting desperate. So they're just picking up smaller parcels at this point and building what they can. And so Lennar has decided to build on a very small plot of land that they've had, and they're just knocking out homes. And any new inventory is helpful. Pricing, what seems to be in the fives, based on this comp that you and I just pulled up, and this is kind of what they look like. So, nice, good looking home.
But for five, how would you evaluate that price?
I would tell you this home sat on the market for 129 days. Started at 605, dropped to 584. My guess is it's probably trading for less than what it's under contract for. And again, the market's been slowing, so we'll see where this actually closes. But yeah, again, it's a 2023 construction, so these newer homes they sell for a premium in the area.
Yeah, it's interesting too that you mentioned Lennar Homes. I feel like it's the first non-Toll Brothers, non-GL Homes community that I've seen in a while. It seems like every new construction, a planned neighborhood is always those two names. I'm just nice to be reminded that there is other competition, building in South Florida. On
the major development side, yeah, GL is a dominant force.
Yeah.
Toll Brothers building a little bit more boutique, little smaller communities, but also still in existence, still playing the game here. But GL they've positioned themselves to be the guys down here. So yeah.
I got you. So since we're still talking about Lake Worth Beach, and we didn't want to, harp too much on just the new developments and things of that nature, we also have some well-established places in Lake Worth Beach. Most notably, if you're ever in that area, on the other side of the bridge, right there on the ocean, is the Lake Worth Casino Complex. Larry, I don't know how often you've been down there. The breakfast at Benny's on the beach is highly recommended. I've had it several times. Very good. And you know what? And it doesn't get enough credit. I personally like the seafood there as well. And it's just great because, it's right there on the pier. You can look at the sunrise, the ocean, have a nice breakfast. I feel like Lake Worth Casino Complex is very underrated for, small get-togethers like that.
I agree. I haven't actually spent too much time in the casino in that complex area, but we've shot a ton of video around there, right?
Of course,
we run around there, so we know it well. But yeah, it's a good area.
I was just there recently, and I mean, literally got like a tub of seafood. I'm talking like crab legs, all kind of stuff. I was like, oh wow, I did not know they had this. People evidently will come from out of town just to have. There's seafood specials. So it's one of those things that if you're ever in the Lake Worth area, make sure to stop by the Lake Worth Casino Complex on the other side of the bridge. It's very good because it's not just about, Benny's, which is of course the best, but you have a Kilwin's ice cream location there and a number of other things too. I like it. It's got a little park. I mean, if you just want to walk up and down the beach there, it's a very pleasant experience overall for sure.
I agree. I didn't realize you were such an expert here, John.
No, this is what you see, because I was living in West Palm for a while. And this is what, you take your parents out to brunch, whatever. So yes, this is one of the few that I'm well acquainted with. But yeah, that should just.
Well, let's talk about the municipal golf course, and we'll let everybody go.
As I was going to say, as I like to think of it, as the Pebble Beach of Palm Beach County. I just know it's like it is great because if you're looking out on the Intracoastal and you see that, you got the ocean, everything. I was just kind of like looking at it going, wow, this is a nice little setup here. I mean, it's par 70 over 6,100 yards, total. It's just, it's very underrated. Personally, I feel it is.
Have you golfed there?
No, I have not. But
neither have I. But we've again filmed over there and been around that area.
Yeah,
I'm a really bad golf player, but the location it's really scenic to be on the Intracoastal, and again, that Intracoastal is so large that it's a beautiful water view, right?
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah. I mean, I remember last time when we were out there and I was flying the drone over all that. Yeah, there was a lot of people people were playing on it all day, looking up like, what is that buzzing sound? Oh, it's a drone. Actually, I don't even know if they came to that conclusion. But if I was a retired person living in the Lake Worth area, oh yeah, I would be I'd be golfing there quite a bit. I thought it was very nice.
I agree.
As far as public courses go, anyway,
we got to go golf there, John.
You know what? Let's do it one of these days.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, enjoyed talking about Lake Worth Beach, the community that's not being overlooked. It's part of that whole Palm Beach County growth, and we're very familiar with that area, so it's always great to see what's up and coming in that. Do you have any other thoughts on Lake Worth Beach, Palm Beach County, South Florida, anything else?
No, I think overall, reach out to us if you have questions. We know so much about these areas, and there's so much more to talk about. We're just picking things to discuss. And if you have any questions in the future, drop them in the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. We're happy to answer questions, and we'll see you guys on the next video. We'll see you on the next live. Have a good night. Happy Halloween.